Welcome to the Phil Steele Plus Tour for Week 1, 2024. Unlike last week when we had 4 games to look at, there are 97 football games this weekend to cover. And the Phil Steele Plus Tour on a roll. You know, the last 8 weeks of the regular season last year, we went 26-12 here. Let's hope we continue on that type of roll with your selections. And as always, one of the reasons and the main reason for the Phil Steele Plus Tour is to show you how to use the Phil Steele Plus Tour to its fullest. If you're a VIP member, you get 4 weeks of access to Phil Steele Plus. I want you to get the most out of those 4 weeks. If you're just out there wanting all the latest information, I have built Phil Steele Plus to be my personal site that I use for everything I need for handicapping. It's on Phil Steele Plus. Everything is up there, and I'm going to show you how to use it. All right, let's get to some selections, though, huh? First of all, let's show you how to get to Phil Steele Plus. Here's the front menu of Phil Steele. You click on My Account, and when you click on My Account, let's see what pops up here. There we go. View my online products. You would hit memberships or view my online products. We can hit that right here. And then it says Phil Steele Plus Access. Hit view. And then once again, Phil Steele Plus Access, hit view. And that gets you to the magic spot. This is the menu of the main menu of Phil Steele Plus with all the FBS information, FCS information, and NFL information. All this is available on all 3. It's amazing how much information is up here. Let's start using some of it, though. Now, normally, when I do the tour, I've got 2 teams lined up side by side, and we're comparing them. Well, we haven't had any action yet this year, so I'm not going to do the side-by-side on Week 1. I'll start it on Week 2. But let's look at the first one. I'm going to call it my Series Dog. And for this one, we're going to take a look at, you go to the team pages like this. We're going to click on Clemson. They are playing Georgia this week. Now, if we click on right here, if you look at the games, this gives you the last 27 meetings of the teams. So as you can tell, the last 27 years, they've only met 5 times. So how am I calling this a series? Well, you know what? This used to be a big-time series, and I tell you what, the 2 schools know it's a series. So in the last 27 years, they've had 5 meetings. The dog is 3-2. But if you want to take it back further, this takes you back to 2002, the dog being 3-2 in this one. And how this works, when you're looking at the last 27 years, if this color is red, that means the team lost the game. If this color is in green, that means they won. This is the score of the game. This is your spread. Clemson is 2-3 the last 5 meetings since 2002. As you can see by the 2 greens, you don't have to do the math. You don't have to say, okay, they were -3, they won by 7. It's right there for you. If it's red, they did not cover. If it's green, they covered. This tells you if the teams were ranked. This tells you if there was an upset. This tells you if the home team won or lost. So as you could tell, the home team 2-2-1 in this stretch. And this gives you your color-coded. So Clemson struggled to run the football the last 4 times against Georgia. Georgia, on the other hand, ran the football well in a couple years. They're not going to do that here because Clemson's got a great defense. But anyway, this takes you back to 2002. You can see that the favorite lost, the underdog lost, the underdog covered, so the underdog's 3-2. But how do you go back further than 2002? Right here, last 40-plus years results. Now, this takes you all the way back to 1976. We got the lines on every game since 1976. And look at this. There didn't even used to be totals back in 2004. There did not used to be totals back in 2002. They started totals in 2003, and we started capturing them right then and there. Believe it or not, no totals before 2003 in college football. But here they are. You get this totals. You get the half times. Look at all the half times are captured. And then if the team is in bold across the board here, that means they won the game. This W and L means whether they covered the game. So it might be funny to you to see Florida State, they lost the game 37-49, and it's got a W. And you're like, why is that a W? It means they covered the game. And as you could tell, they were plus 14.5. Game was 21-14 at the half. Clemson led, and it went over. That's how you read these box scores, and they take you all the way back to 1976. Now, I told you we went to 2002. Look back here. At Georgia, they were plus 9.5, dog covered. -5, dog covered. Plus 3.5, dog covered. Plus 9, dog covered. Plus 4, dog covered. Pick 'em. No, there was no underdog. +2, the dog covered. So you could go through this. I've done it. If you go all the way back to 1977, the underdog in this series, 15-5 ATS. Let's take a look a little bit further on the line here. And we've got that Dabo. If you look at his record as an underdog, let's check this out. Well, it's actually as a dog of 5+ points. So if he's a dog of 5+ points, Dabo Swinney is 12-2. One other thing you could check out here, and we'll just see how he does overall as a dog, is the last 10 years straight up in ATS records. Click on this and look at this. You've got this in the magazine up here, home, away, neutral. You've got the ATS. We give you as a favorite, as an underdog, in conference play, as a conference favorite, as a conference dog, in all these categories, versus ranked teams versus top 10 teams, in all these categories. You want to look up anything, you go right here to this page, and it gets you that. Now, this one, I think it shows single-digit dog, and he is 8-5, but 1-0 is a double-digit dog, so that's 9-5. But if you go back and look, when he's +5 or more, Dabo Swinney is 12-2 against the spread with Clemson. So you got to like that. And the final thing I'm going to point out with Clemson and why they're underrated is take a look at their losses last year. Against Duke, they had a 29-17 first down edge. Somehow lost the game. Florida State, they had a 25-16 first down edge, 429 to 311 yard edge. Never trailed in regulation, lost it in overtime. Miami of Florida, a 19-18 first down edge, and even NC State, 21-9 first down edge. They outgained NC State 364 to 202, yet lost. Turnovers, missed field goals cost them last year, but they were much better than a 4-loss team. So add it all up, I'm going to take Clemson plus the 13.5 against Georgia, and that game is at 12 o'clock noon. So it's 13.5, Clemson plus the points. All right, let's take a look at an underrated large favorite. And this one we're going to take a look at Alabama. And the thing I want to point out here is I want to know how DeBoer does, their new head coach, in the first 2 games of the season, or the first 4 games of the season against the spread. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back to Washington for starters. He was there for 2 years. So let's go ahead to go to the Big Ten and click on Washington. Now, if you want to know when DeBoer was the head coach there, come down here. This tells you who the head coach was each year. So if you're looking up Steve Sarkisian records, you're like, I don't remember when he was the head coach at Washington. Right there. Those are the 5 years he was at Washington. So Kalen DeBoer was at Washington 23 and 22. So we're going to go to our last 40 years results, or just flip to your magazine page. But in the first 4 games, you got a win, a push, a win, and a win. A win, a win, a win, and a win. These are all against the spread. 7-0-1 against the spread. First 4 games of the season. Now, he was at Fresno State prior to that. Once again, we can click on the Fresno State page. And when you click there, go to the last 40 years results. When was Kalen DeBoer the head coach at Fresno State? He was the head coach here in 19 and 20. So if we go to 19 and 20, you could see 3-1. And you can see that in 19... No, actually, it was 20 and 21, I thought. Let me take a look at that a little bit closer. Was it 20 and 21 or 19 and 20? Oh, it was 19 and 20. So the last 3 years, he is 3-1. So that is 7-0-1, 3-1. That is 10-1-1. The first 4 games of the year, the last 4 years, he has been a head coach. So that's a pretty good record there, first 4 games of the year. Now let's go take a look at his opponent. And by the way, the reason I think Alabama's under the radar this year is they lost their head coach. But Kalen DeBoer's got a team that probably has more talent than he had at Washington last year, and he took Washington to the national title game. Really good head coach. But the other thing I'm going to point out in this particular matchup, and the reason we're using underrated large favorite, and my line on this game, by the way, Alabama, I believe, is about a 31-point favorite in the game. I take a look at this spread to make sure I got this one right. Alabama is -31 and -31. So Bama's -31. I thought they should be a 38-point favorite. Let's take a look at Western Kentucky. And I was watching the Western Kentucky game last year against Ohio State. And it was, if you look at how they did at the half, they had 224 yards offense, but they were down big at the half. He actually put the offense away in the second half. So 224 yards in the first half. And then the second half, they ran a different offense. Didn't really try to score that much. Only had 60 yards in the second half. And that's happens. And so what is Tyson Helton's record as a 20-plus underdog? Well, you can look it up here. Underdog, 20 or more. 0-1, 0-1. Wait a second now. Underdog, 20 or more. Conference. Let me just double check. What's my spread record here? I've got Tyson Helton is 0-6 as a double-digit dog. Okay, so let's look here, right here, double-digit dog. 0-1, 0-2, 0-3, 0-1. So right here, your double-digit dog category, it's happened 6 times in the last 5 years. 0-6 ATS. So 0-6 ATS is a double-digit dog. DeBoer does great in the first 4 games of the year. Let's take Alabama, minus 31 as my underrated large favorite. All right, let's go to my angle game of the week this week. We got Eastern Michigan plus 2.5 or plus 3 against UMass. Let's go to UMass for starters. And I'm using this angles a lot here. During the season, I'm going to get in here, and I'll show you when I click on UMass. During the season, we're going to be looking at all this green and red. AGG, we're going to be looking at how they do against opponents. You know, like here, you can see that UMass is one of the worst against their opponents. They actually allowed opponents 73 yards above their season average. Here is your offense, defense. Green and red highlights the positives. But for this one, I'm just going to take a look here. And I want to take a look at how UMass does as a favorite. So here's their record as a favorite. 0-3 last year as a favorite. 0-1 here and 0-1 here. In the last 5 years, they've been favored 5 times, and they are 0-5 ATS. They've actually only won one of those outright. 0-5 ATS. And then we click to Eastern Michigan. This way, it's my angle game of the week. Let's go click on Eastern Michigan right now. If we go over there and click, here is Eastern Michigan. Let's go to their spread records, and let's see how they do as an away underdog. So we got underdog. Where's away underdog? Underdog. Conference favorite, home favorite. Oh, it's right up here. Away dog. As you could tell, let's take away these 2 years, which is 5-7-1. That's 28-9-0. 28-9 as an away underdog. One of the best away dogs in the business is Eastern Michigan. They're an away underdog here. You have a great away underdog versus a very poor favorite. And you guys know from the tour, I use Eastern Michigan as an away dog here quite a bit. We're going to take Eastern Michigan plus 3 over UMass. One quick thing I'd like to point out to you is I do have an Inside the Press Box newsletter this week, and I'm actually going to get into an Inside the Press Box newsletter game. Hey, Todd, can you give me a Toledo and Duquesne game PDF? I'm going to get into an Inside the Press Box game for you in a little bit, but what I want to tell you is that Inside the Press Box Week 1 has 97 games for Issue 1. The battle is on. It's me versus my computer. Each week, I put up my best bets. My computer puts up its best bets. I had Georgia Tech last week. The computer had New Mexico. We both won. The computer actually went 17-7 the last 9 weeks of the regular season last year to finish ahead of me, which that great finish got ahead of me at the end of the year. I'm a little bitter about that. I want to beat the computer this year, but you turn out the winner because you get my best bets, you get my computer best bets, and we're both trying to win this whole thing. You get all 97 games. It's regular $20 an issue. Right now, I'll give you all 97 games of Week 1 for $15. Just go to philsteele.com. When you go to philsteele.com, go to the homepage. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the store right here. Click on the store. When you go to the store, you're going to see Inside the Press Box, single issue right here. Click on that. And when you click on that, what I want you to do is type in the code word battle is on. It's me versus a computer. And the battle is on. Order it today at philsteele.com. Put this code in. You get $5 off. Each issue of Inside the Press Box is $20. You get $5 off if you type in that code. And you're going to get 97 games this week. 97 big games of Inside the Press Box for you. So that's at the store right now. Make sure you check that out. And once again, the code for that, I'll click on it one more time just to make sure you had it. The code is Battle is On. You get $5 off and you get 97 college football games. Let me show you what Inside the Press Box write-up looks like. Todd got this for us. We'll have to blow this one up a little bit. Sorry I didn't prep this one for you. Close this, and we will get this. And what you see is I give you a complete write-down of the game, each game. You get my computer's forecast on the game, yards rushing, yards points. You get the total yards, score of the game. My computer says it's going to be 42-5. Toledo's a 28-point favorite. That's why down here you can see it's a best bet. I'm giving you a computer best bet right off of Inside the Press Box, and my computer went 17-7 the last 9 weeks on best bets. So you can see the breakdown. It says Toledo's going to have 521 yards at 202. They're going to win the game 43-6. And they're right here, 43-6, and it is a best bet. Here's my write-up on the game. I've got it 45-10. This gives you the last 4 weeks game grade, and this is all here. If they met in the last 27 years, it would be here. You get this type of write-up on every game, a complete write-up. This tells you who Duquesne is, what they've done, who the quarterbacks are. It's all right there. And, of course, if you went here on the on philsteele.com, you could go to the FCS page if you want to become an instant. Oh, let me go back to the store for 1 minute. You want to become an instant FCS expert? Right here, the FCS Digital Magazine. You know how the FBS magazine is 2 full pages on every FBS team? You get 2 full pages on every FCS team. It's just like the FBS magazine, except the FCS, it's a great magazine. It's just $25. You become an instant expert. But let's go back to the Phil Steele Plus. And when you go to Phil Steele Plus, you're already an instant expert. You want to go to Duquesne and find out about them? It's right here. There's Duquesne. Here's who their quarterback was last year, running back, what they did in their games. You see they lost to West Virginia 56-7, Coastal Carolina 66-7, Delaware beat them by 26 last year. You want to know who's back, who's not, what their players did on an individual basis. It's right there. When you click on individual player stats, you can see their quarterback played all year. It's all there, all this FCS information. It takes you all the way back to 2006, and there are so many FCS versus FCS games, FBS versus FCS, and there's also FCS versus FCS, and we give you an average game grade right here on each team. You got your set of power ratings each and every week for all the FCS teams. So become a Phil Steele Plus member as well, but get that first week of Inside the Press Box. All right, let's go to my situation matchup game this week, and we're going to take a look at Colorado State against Texas. Now, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take a look at Texas. Remember, Texas had a big game last year. They had Alabama coming up, where they was on the road, huge game. What did they do? Well, they beat Rice and they beat Wyoming. Pretty easy, right? Well, if you look at these games a little bit closer, Wyoming was actually 10-7 at the half. They were outgained in the first half. In fact, when you look at the box score, and by the way, I'd like to thank collegepressbox.com. If you click on box score out here, you get the box score of the game. And not just this, but all the way down the play-by-play. And during the week, and this week I'm going to have to go through 97 games, I go through the play-by-play of every single game. I've got 12 TVs in front of me. I'm watching all 12 games. But then after the games are over, I go through the play-by-play and see how the game was actually played. And this tells you. And look at this. In the fourth quarter, the score is Texas 17, Wyoming 10. It's a close game, and it's Texas got a couple of late scores to make it a little misleading on the 31-10 final. Never had a chance at covering, though. If we go take a look at the spread, once again, you could look at the spread right now in your magazine if it's the last 5 years. But Texas did not cover against Rice. They were minus 35. Did not cover against Wyoming around this big game at Alabama. And they've got a similar type of game coming up here where they are playing Michigan. So that's a big thing. And then let's take a look at Colorado State. And this is also a matchup game, as I mentioned. The one thing I want to point out here while we're on the Texas page, look at their weakness last year. One of the reasons I liked Washington and Texas to go over the total in this game and used it as a best bet was the fact that Texas was giving up all this yardage in the air. Look at this: 305, 378, 327, 302, 323. They gave up 430. It was a 37-31 game. So if you're looking at a weakness for Texas, it's probably pass defense. Well, let's go to Colorado State and see what they've got. And if you're not familiar with Colorado State, first of all, read your magazine. You'll be an expert on them right now. But you already know that Colorado State has an excellent quarterback here in Braden Fowler-Nicolzi. Now, Braden Fowler-Nicolzi, if you look at the individual stats,
Started out at 300, 300, 400, 359. Finished the year with 317 at Hawaii. He's a guy that can put it up. So I like that matchup. I like this green passing offense against Texas's red passing defense. I also like the situation, Texas in that sandwich game. But the clincher is probably right here, where you take a look at how has Colorado State done as a 20-plus dog. And once again, look over here, underdog. This one's not in the magazine. By 20 or more, 1-0, 2-2. That's 3-2, 4-2, 5-2. So they're on a 5-2 run as a 20-plus dog. In fact, if you took it back further, even further than this, here you take it back to 2014. They're 8-4 as a 20-plus dog. What happened in 2013? You click over here. You look at 2013. They should have been 2-0. Let me just make sure. 20-plus dog. There's a big dog win. And I thought I saw two of them on here the other night. Maybe it's over here. Here's a 23.5, and it's, 23. Anyway, they're 10-4 against the spread as a 20-plus dog. So you got to like that for Colorado State. I got a strong dog against a team in a bad situation with a matchup edge. My situation matchup game of the week is to take Colorado State plus 32 over Texas. All right, one more key, my main selection here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to give you 6 selections today plus 3 quick hitters. So you got to like that, and it's all free. You get these plays free, and like I said, the selections went 26-12 the last 8 weeks last year. All right, let's look at my perfect angle play. And you guys are probably familiar with this. I'm sure I've used it before, but let's take a look how UNLV does on the road versus non-conference. So let's go to UNLV on the road versus non-conference. Here's UNLV. Here's the last 40 years stats. And let's take a look at their road non-conference games. Conference. Here they won, and Michigan they won. Now, once again, they didn't win the game, but here it tells you they covered. So that's 2-0. On the road, no conference. Here's at Notre Dame. That's 3-0. Here's California. That's 4-0. Here's UTSA. That's 5-0. Here's Arizona State, 6-0. I'm skipping over the conference games. No non-conference games here. 1, 2, 3. Vanderbilt, 7-0. Northwestern, 8-0. Hawaii, San Diego State. Arkansas State, 9-0. USC, 10-0. Ohio State, 11-0. Idaho, 12-0. They've won 12 in a row as a non-conference road team. And they're plus a few points here against Houston. I think they're actually a better team. And we could go back and take a look at Tulane real quick. And Willie Fritz, he's in his first year with Houston. He had great success at Tulane, right? Great success. So let's go to Tulane. Click on the last 40 years results. Willie Fritz was the head coach from 16. He took over 4-8, 5-7. Even at a 2-10 year here, the last couple years, great success, 12-11 wins. But it's a sort of an uneven start. Took him a while to get things going, so I think it's going to take him a while to get things going. Your perfect angle is to take UNLV plus the points over Houston. All right, let's get to some quick hitters. Finish this off. Before I do it, you want to get in on Phil Steele Plus. I got a special for you right here. Phil Steele Plus Tour Special. You get full access all year. You get the college FBS, which is everything I just showed you. And I've got more on the FBS as well. I'll click off of that one. I got more on the FBS I could show you, and I will. The college FCS and NFL, 25 weeks of access all the way through the Super Bowl. The regular price is $99. Take $10 off with expert wins, $89. Guys, that comes out to $3.56 a week. Now, anybody can afford that. You go to a ball game and get a beer, it's more than twice that, for crying out loud. $3.56 a week, and you get this. It's your access. And whenever you want, you can look anything you want up. And I haven't even showed you the whole thing. Like this schedule, for example. I believe I will show you something from the schedule. I'll get to that in a minute. Let me go back here, back to Phil Steele Plus, and I want to get to the quick hitters. Oh, but anyway, your access code, once again, for the tour, Expert Wins. Go to the home store here. Don't have the home. Oh, if you click on Phil Steele, it takes you to the front menu, I believe. There we go. Go to the store. When you go to the store, it's going to show you the access, Phil Steele Plus right here. Click on that, and when you click on that, you will be able to, if you enter the Expert Wins code, you will get $10 off. So let's keep in mind there, your tour special,
$10 off with Expert Wins. And you'll have access to Phil Steele Plus all the way through the Super Bowl. All right, let me click these two things off for you, and let's get to your current game we're going to take a look at. We're going to look at the value play. It is going to be Troy against Nevada. Now, Nevada played a great game last week. I'm just going to flip on the Troy page. Really not a lot to look at. Let's look at the Nevada page. You could see, remember last week Todd didn't have a lot of this stuff updated. Now it's all updated. We don't have Nevada up yet. Todd will get the games from last week up shortly. They'll probably be up by this weekend, definitely. And in the future, the games will be up. Generally, they're up Sunday morning. You could see here they played a great game. They only lost to SMU 29-24, but that was as a large underdog at home. And they were playing in like 50-degree temperatures. It was cold. Now they're going to Troy, Alabama. It's going to be quite a difference temperature-wise, humidity-wise, heat-wise. Troy's in the first year for a new head coach. Last week, the line was Troy minus 14. And if we do go to the schedule here, you'll see that the schedule is up. And let me go back to the menu for a second, show you how to get there. When you go to the main menu for Phil Steele Plus, and hey, it's the first one of the year. It takes me a while to get this thing rolling. Click on Schedule with Power Ratings Forecast. And when you do that, click here to download it, and there it is. There is your complete schedule, which I'm showing you over here in a bigger version, so let's get to that. And this is updated all year long. The schedule with numbers, this is if they met last year, which they did. It adds or subtracts the home edge and adds the 3 to your opponent. That's why North Carolina actually was a 7-point favorite last year and won by 18. But here on the road now, it'd be 1-12. But it's still a best bet. Green is a best bet. And you get a ton of best bets. Look at all the green in here when you look at the schedule each week. So the best bets are color-coded in green. This is last 4 weeks AGG, which we'll be using. But Troy was actually opened up a 14-point favorite, and now the line is all the way down to 9 or 8.5. I'm going to use 8.5 right now. And so I think what you have is a value play. While Nevada looked good last week, Troy's got the better situation, and I'll take advantage of the fact that the line's moved 6 points based on how Nevada played as a large home underdog against SMU. Now they're on the road. Take Troy minus 14. Next one we're going to take a look at is Maryland against UConn, and these are quick hitters, so they'll go quick. But the one thing I do want to show you, a couple other things on the FBS that you can get here. And these are updated all season long, and I'll get right back to your plays in a minute. You got the experience chart versus last year. You want to check that out. Injuries and transfers. These are players that you can go into your magazine and circle. When I say circle, that means they're not on the roster, out for the year. Things have happened to these players. This will be completely updated by the end of next week, and you could do that right now for your magazine, so make sure you're using that. Pass, fishing, defense, special teams updated during the year. A lot of these updated during the year. And links in newspapers if you want to look up something specifically. All that. NFL, naturally we have team pages for the NFL, completely loaded. Go to our hometown Browns. Or actually, let's go to Kansas City, see what they've got over there. Super Bowl champs. Here's Kansas City. Once again, you could click here and get all the last games just like you do in the college. Click on the box score. You get the actual box score for the game. And it is red and green. The AGG I have upgraded this year. I couldn't really use this in years past. It was too tight. I fixed the formula. I'm going to be using the AGG all year. I'm pretty excited about that. So you get the AGG. You got how they do against opponents. All this at your fingertips for the NFL. Let's get back to the quick hitters. And we're going to start with Maryland. We only got 2 left here. Maryland against UConn. And one thing I want to point out here about Maryland, they get out of the box quick under Mike Locksley. And here, let's take a look. All right, how long has Mike Locksley been the head coach? Once again, click on last 40 years results. Tells you that Locksley took over in 2019. So now let's take a look at 2019. First 2 games of the year in 2019. They won these games 79 and 63 points. 2020, I'm not counting because of just odd. You've got to throw that out. They canceled their season, brought it back. Here they scored 30 and 62. Here they scored 31 and 56. And here they scored 38 and 38. In his career, in the first 2 games, Mike Locksley has put up a total of 49.6 points per game on offense. And they're only allowing 20.6 points per game. Read the magazine. Read what I wrote about Maryland's defense. This is a good defense.
They only allowed 334 yards per game last year. They got the bulk of it back. They're actually going to be very strong defensively this year. So you have a team that puts up 49 points per game with a strong defense. I like Maryland minus the 20.5 over Connecticut. And the last one we're going to take a look at, and I'm going to attribute this one to Wayne Cook from my Learfield podcast that we do every Tuesday. Make sure you check that out. If you go to my Twitter page, let's find out how to get to the Twitter page here for a second. Go to the home page, click on the Twitter page, and check this podcast out this week. It's a lot of fun. I do it with Stephen Hartzell and Wayne Cook. I'll show you where it's at. It's right here, this College Sports Now. Check this out each week. It's fun. And anyway, Wayne is a West Coast guy. He's played for UCLA. You remember Wayne Cook, for crying out loud. And he's always talking about how Stanford has no fans. So I looked it up. Let's go take a look at Stanford. No fans. All right, does this have a factor? You would think a team that doesn't have great home support wouldn't have a great spread record, right? Let's put 2 and 2 together and see if that comes out to equal 4. We go to Stanford. We go to the record against the spread. Here's the record at home. There's 2 and 5. That's 3 and 10. That's 4 and 15. 4 and 15 the last 3 years at home. 4 and 15 against the spread. So it comes true to form. They are not good at home against the spread. And you have a TCU team that just 2 years ago was playing in the national championship game. And also, if you go to the schedule for this one, the schedule has, if you look at the last 4 weeks, had TCU playing at a much higher level than Stanford the last 4 weeks of last year, 16.1. Now, I do want to caution you on the last 4 weeks. Last year was about a 50-50 proposition early. Once we got to the actual last 4 weeks, and let me show you that on the Phil Steele Plus real quick. Once we get to the last 4 weeks, let's go ahead and take a look at who was really hot down the stretch last year. Let's take a look at Clemson. They played good ball down the stretch. This last 4 weeks is updated. You can't really use it the first 4. It'll be exactly the same as the AGG. But once you get to like week 6, it only takes into account the last 4 games. And here are the last 4 games of the season. Clemson played at 114.3 level. They were at a 111 for the season, which means they were probably at about a 109 prior to that. So it gives you a good current form during the course of the year. And last year, the last 4 weeks plays did amazing here on the site. I think they hit over 67%. You'll have to wait for it. You'll have to wait till week 5 or 6 to really get it rolling. But over the last 7 weeks of the season, it was dynamic. But at the start of the year, it's about a 50-50 proposition. I put it on the schedule a little bit more for fun at this point. But the schedule does have a best bet on TCU there, and we're going to use TCU as a quick hitter. So 6 selections for you today. I gave you 3 quick hitters. I got a ton of best bets on my Inside the Press Box, and make sure you stop back each and every week for the tour. Next week, the NFL kicks off. I got an NFL best bet for you the first week of the season. I actually did a little bit of NFL research this year during the offseason. So, and like I said, I improved that AGG. I'm pretty excited about that. I'd like to thank you for taking the Phil Steele Plus tour. Isn't it great that football's back, guys? 97 college football games this weekend. Have yourself a great weekend, and thanks for tuning in.